Hello, everybody, and you're welcome to another exciting episode of the Coffee and Beans podcast. Thank you, everyone, for the mentions. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the follows on our social media platforms. Thank you for the listens. We are more than honored that you take time to listen to us week in, week out. Thank you for those that sent messages that were encouraged by our last episode. We're encouraged also to do more. Please don't stop listening. Please don't stop subscribing. We would have many more platforms available for us to listen to. Thank you once again. Thank you. On today's episode, I have a good friend of mine, a colleague and a fellow fashion entrepreneur, Mr. Bassey Ubaha. Mr. Bassey Ubaha is an entrepreneur and the creative head at Dekk Seven Enterprises, a premium clothing brand. He's also the founder of Project CLAC. Now, CLAC means Clothe a Child. Since 2014, this initiative has empowered hundreds of children in underprivileged communities across the country. Through its most recent outreach tagged Bags for School, over 300 kids have received durable school bags. Now, in 2015, together with Ben Bruce Foundation, Project CLAC provided items for kids in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Bayelsa. Now, Bassey previously worked at Silverbird Communications for over 6 years. He was part of the team that worked on major events like Beautiful Gay Nigeria, Silverbird Man of the Year, amongst others. Now, he's a talented voiceover artist. When he starts speaking, you will know why I say he's a talented voiceover artist. He's been a radio OAP. He is featured alongside Ike Osakidoa on Rhythm 3.7. And he's very passionate about inspiring and motivating others, which he does through his podcast, True Yarn. So he's also a fellow podcaster too. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast, Mr. Bassey.
The pleasure is mine, Shola. My big brother in the industry.
How now? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good.
It's after many postponements we are here.
Yeah, I think it was just
almost got one. In fact, today almost didn't happen, but exactly. We thank God that it did. Welcome.
Thanks, man.
I mean, I'm very fascinated about what you do with CLAC, Project CLAC, and I just want to ask how did that come about, especially as you don't have a child yet.
Okay.
No.
I was waiting for you to say yes.
You don't have a child yet, yeah. Okay. So, but you find out that a lot of people will say, "Oh." Anyways, let me hear from you. Why Project CLAC? Why is that passion? Why did that become a passion for you?
Okay, I think early, like in my uni days, I used to always be involved with projects that surround empowering children. I remember there's this time in I think my final year, we had to bring kids from different parts of Delta State, and then we started celebrating them. We used to call it Celebrate Orphans, but we changed the name at that point to Celebrate Heroes. So that thing has always been in me. And then remember working on the island. I used to work at VI, and then going home every time. Being in traffic, if you're a Lagosian, you know that when you're in traffic, you see different things that are on sale. Yeah. People are running with different brands, exactly, just trying to sell plantain chips and all of that. And what used to get me was seeing kids that are supposed to be maybe at home resting after a long day from school, or probably they didn't even go to school, but they're selling on the road. And I used to ask myself, like, I had I would say as a child, I was not doing that, so to say. Do you understand? I didn't have to do that. But seeing them do it, there was this burden in my heart. And I was like, Bassey, what can you do to help? You might not be able to solve the whole problem, but in your own way, how can you ensure that these kids, even the ones that are in school, how do you make sure that at least they have something like good school bag? Because most of these kids, you see them carry, like the ones that go to school, you see them carrying, they put their school books in polythene bags and all of that. And that one probably lasts for like a day, because me and you know how kids can be. Yeah. It can be very rough. Yeah. Do you understand? So that on its own, this was sometime in 2014. So that it just became a part of me. Like, I have to do something about it in my own little way. Yeah.
I mean, so how has it developed into where because I mean I saw the one you did last year or 2 years ago, and it looked like it had really grown to be something formidable. So how have you been able to keep that consistency year in, year out? Have you been are you partnering with other brands? Are you partnering with, is Project CLAC an NGO yet?
Okay, so we call Project CLAC the heartbeat of Dekk Seven.
Right.
So meaning that people will call it a CSR, but I call it a Siamese twins. Like one cannot function without the other. Yeah. So back to your question, asking how we've been able to do it over the years. And one of the things that I remember starting off, I used to hear comments like, "Have you finished eating? That you're giving out?
Yeah.
You never chop finish.
Exactly.
You have not finished eating and you're giving out
food
stuff, you're giving out items to people."
Items, yeah.
But one thing I used to always tell myself is that if you do not discipline yourself to do something at the early stage, when you're a multi-billionaire, it will still be hard for you to do it.
Yeah.
But if with your maybe 100K, you can pull out 20K to do something, when you have 100 million, it won't be hard to pull out 20 million.
Right.
Do you understand? So for me, the first outreach we had in 2014, it was self-funded. I think a friend of mine and one other person that came with other items, but I literally emptied my pocket to ensure that it starts. Do you understand? Yeah. So I think for me, the first thing is whatever vision you have, if you are not able to put your money down first, forget it. Do you understand?
Okay, so I mean, clearly CLAC has moved beyond clothes. Yeah. You do other things that, like food. Do you do medical interventions?
Not yet.
But is that in view?
Yes. Okay. So let me just quickly touch on what CLAC is. Yeah. So clothe a child.
CLAC.
Yes, CLAC. Yeah. So it's when you say clothing is literally covering someone's shame.
Oh, right.
Do you understand? But because we're in the fashion space, yeah. That just
you just use that. You just use that. Yeah.
Do you understand? So if someone is not educated, you clothe the person's shame or that's part of the person by educating the person. So that's clothing.
It's an all-encompassing.
Do you understand?
Word.
Yeah. So, but being able to grow it now. Continue with your question. Being able to grow it over the years is when people want to jump on a moving train.
True.
Do you understand? They want to jump on something that's moving. So like. When we started off, like I said, the first initiative, or rather the first outreach was literally me and one of my very good friends that started. And then a couple of the next one, more people wanted to be part of it. They were asking, how can I be a part of it? And that's how Ben Bruce Foundation contacted us. That said, okay, can we do something together? Can you guys do something for our kids in Bayelsa? They have I think 4 locations. So that's how they came on board. Or rather, they contacted us and then we did something together.
Wow. Anyways, I've been meaning to ask that. So thank you for clarifying that. Of course, at the end of the pod, for people who want to be part of Project CLAC, you can share your details and we would. So I want to talk. I want to delve into your journey as an entrepreneur. How did you find yourself in? How did your journey as a fashion entrepreneur start?
Okay. So my journey as a fashion entrepreneur is my mom is a fashion designer. Let me start from there. Okay. So as kids, we come back from school, go to mom's shop, and then we carry all the materials on the floor, tie our head like 2-pack, and be feeling fly. Tie your waist. You just look like masquerades. So I think that was where the interest started from. And over the years, fast forward to uni, I started noticing that a lot of people liked what I used to wear. Because I was a designer freak. If it's not a designer outfit, I'm not wearing it. Yeah. Do you understand? So I used to spend most of my money buying stuff like that. I like to see the Ralph Lauren symbol or whatever brand it is I liked. So, and there's a lot of people used to say, "Oh, I like what you're wearing." And I started noticing that my friends, this is no kidding, a lot of my friends started dressing like me. If I roll up my sleeves up to this level, yeah, I'm serious, that kind of thing. That time, so it was really funny and. Seeing how people were looking at my style, so to say, and they wanted to dress in that manner, it just prompted me to say, hey, there's a business opportunity here.
Right.
Do you understand? And then obviously I went, I tried to start. So this journey of starting, should I go into that journey?
No, let's. I mean, that's why we are here now. Let's go into give us the short and abridged version.
Okay, so the journey of starting is, I know it's scary, and it was scary for me for like a while. When I say scary, you know how you're thinking, should I start today? Should I start tomorrow? Should I start today? Should I start tomorrow?
When you say starting, like, did you have an eureka moment that this is what I want to do as a career path, or you were doing something before? You were the fashion business was the side hustle, and then starting as a full-blown business. Which kindly define the starting you're talking about?
Okay, so you know how you read motivational books and then you just want to run. So I was just looking around, like, what am I passionate about? Obviously, I'm passionate about like media production and all of that. So the other very obvious thing was fashion.
Yeah.
So I was just like, there you go, that's it. Do you understand? So that was like the light bulb moment for me, that okay, I'm passionate about fashion. So how do I grow a fashion brand? So the starting point for me was, I think I was home one day. I was just sitting down. I was very uncomfortable, and then I just said, let me just go to the market and just buy fabric and just look for someone that will put it together, put a design together.
For you?
Yes, for me. So that was it. And mind you, the first one I made, because I had people in mind. I think most fashion designers, when you're making clothes, especially if you're making ready to wear, you are looking at, who is going to buy it?
Who's going to buy this?
This person is my brother. I hit, when you say, I hit the nail on the head, but I did not arrive at my destination, meaning that by the time I made them, they were too small for the people I had in mind. Do you understand? And then I had to, at the point, I had to start giving those outfits out. I gave everything out. And I remember I sat down in my room, and my mom walked in and said, what's wrong with you? I said, this business thing, I'm not sure it's for me. She said, no, that's business. So you have to pick yourself back up. And if it's truly your calling, you do it again. And then I had to reassess my decision. The kind of design I put out before was just plain. So I said, okay, Bassey, you're a creative person. You can't just put out this the same thing that everyone else is doing and expect it to stand out. So I said, okay. So I designed one this time, not plenty. I just designed one, and I wore it. As soon as I entered my hostel then in school, I remember my friends were upstairs. They're just hailing me. You know how they say Ubaha? They were hailing me. I was like, ah. And then when I went upstairs, my friend was like, bro, I love your shirt. So they were now looking for the tag. They're calling different brands. I'm like, this is Dekk Seven. They're looking around like, this is my own stuff. They're like, no, that it's too neat, that they like it. And then in my head, I'm like, oh, I've got you guys. So this is what you guys like, Abi.
I
will come back. Exactly. So that's more like.
I mean, I know the story, but quickly tell us how the name Dekk Seven came about.
Okay, so I had a couple of names in mind. I remember then I was thinking, you know how you want to have this maybe Spanish,
sophisticated,
French. One time, the first thing I thought of then was La Mode. Only for me to check the internet, I just saw La Mode everywhere. And I'm like, no, that's not it. And I just had this thing in my spirit telling me that the name is there's something about you that is the name. So this Dekk 7 is actually December 7.
Yes. My
birthday. So I was looking at it, I was like, Dekk 7, how does it make, is it DEC? So I started writing it I remember I started writing with like a pencil. And when I knew that this was the name, I quickly just told my aunt as a barrister, please, I want to register. She said, no, give me other names. I said, no, this name, nobody has it. Do you understand? And then that was how the name came about.
So how has inspiration, how have you stayed inspired through the process? When did that time when you started, what year was that?
That was in 2009.
Okay, so from 2009 till now, how have you stayed inspired? Because I know that you're constantly evolving. Now you've delved into sportswear.
Yeah,
like you're constantly evolving. So how have you stayed inspired? How do you source inspiration that keeps you fresh through the years?
Okay, so mind you, after I started in 2009, that was like literally almost final year.
Final year, yeah. What school was that? What
Delta
school?
State University, Abraka, yes.
Okay.
So by the time I was done, I was doing like just this thing that I enjoyed, that was bringing money too, and I was losing money too. Yes, people will not. I was losing money and I was making money. But when I moved to Lagos in 2012, I sort of put it to the side for like a couple of years because I was now working like a regular 9 to 5. So one of the things that has kept me inspired is I love to read. I enjoy reading. Mind you, I didn't like school books. So I used to think that was a problem, but for the first time I picked up a book, so I had this uncle then that used to, whenever he comes from Yankee, he will come with books, and I'm like, this man will buy plenty shirts, or rather, few shirts and plenty books. What am I using all these books to do?
So what kind of books? Fiction, biographies? What kind of books?
Okay, I remember the first book I read that I enjoyed was Golden Apples. I'm trying to remember. I think Bill Collin, Golden Apples. So it's not fiction, it's typical motivational. It's someone's story.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so it's literally how like he started his own journey as an entrepreneur. So that kind of book. And then I also read spiritual books.
Right.
Because whether you like it or not, there is this, we know as people that you have to sort out some things first before you come physically. To start manifesting. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a good thing you have talked about that because I want us to expand on that. As a business person, how has the journey of faith been relevant to you as a person, not just for yourself as a fashion entrepreneur, but also as a social entrepreneur with your work with Project CLAC and doing interventions? How has that journey of faith? How important is it, or has it been for you as a person? Like I said, being a fashion and a social entrepreneur.
Okay. So one of the things that I've always that always crosses my mind is the fact that as people we're not independent, we're interdependent. What do I mean? We're having this podcast. It's interesting because it's both of us.
Yes.
If it was just you can have a good conversation with yourself, but it will be more interesting
when there's another
person there. Do you understand? So if once I started noticing that, hey, you can't just do things on your own. Do you understand? You have to, there is like, you just have to sort of like expand. Do you understand? And then as an individual, I started thinking of, okay, how do I fully, will I say manifest as a person? Because the truth is, it's easy to be inspired, but to be consistent,
it's where the challenge
That's
lies.
where the challenge is.
Yes.
So for me as a person, knowing first of all that my life is, I have to add value. Do you understand? I have to add value. Do you understand? I have to give what has been deposited in me.
Yeah.
The story of the talent, that's one of my favorite stories. 5 talent, 2, 1. We all know this story.
Yeah.
And then the person that had 1 didn't think that was good enough and then buried it. So I used to always tell myself, I want to use all that has been deposited in me. Do you understand? So even if growth and expansion is it's painful. Do you understand? Meaning that there are things that you have to do that are not convenient at that point, but you know that it's integral for you as a person to evolve, to manifest. Do you understand? So being able to, when people ask, like, how are you able to do all these things?
Exactly.
I just keep saying, like, when you buy a Ferrari, you don't ask the Ferrari how it's able to move that fast. Do you understand? God has created you the way he created you. And he knows, once you start knowing what you can do, to you to be simple, but to others it to look like a chore.
Wow.
Do you understand? Like, oh, how is he even doing all of these things? Do you understand? So for me, just knowing who I am as a person, and how do I know, or how do you know who you are? You have to explore. You have to read a lot. You have to stay inspired. Like I said, one of the things that makes me stay inspired is reading and having conversations like this with intelligent minds that would prick your brain. And then once your brain is excited, you start seeing things from a different perspective. You start saying, oh, I can do this, or I can do that. Do you understand? And then it just becomes normal. So like merging the life of a social entrepreneur, it would come rather easy. Do you understand? I would say it would come rather easy. Yes, there are challenges to it, but it's a no-brainer for me. I cannot be someone else. Exactly.
Okay, so my follow-up question will be, you had touched on it earlier. How do you cope with the downtimes? How do you sort of pick yourself up in those times where you tell yourself, nah, I don't think I want to do this? First of all, are there times where you tell yourself
my brother, yes. Let's know.
For which one of them? You know,
Okay.
like I said, you're in both worlds, the fashion space and the social space. So in which of them do you get, would you get more pushbacks, more discouragements in?
Okay, so I said something earlier that Project CLAC and Dekk Seven, they're Siamese twins.
They're one and
So
two.
when I notice I'm doing one more, when I notice I'm doing business more, I start feeling like there's something missing. Do you understand? So I know that we have to do Project CLAC. So that's one of the beautiful things about entrepreneurship is knowing it's like a child. For instance, parents will tell you, you're a dad, that you don't raise two kids the same way.
The same way, yeah.
Do you understand? So knowing what your business needs is very important. Do you understand? So that you know how to manage the ups and the downs. So whenever I'm like doing business and I notice, how is this business impacting people? Do you understand? The first thing that comes to my mind is, hey, what's up with Project CLAC this year? What are we doing for Project CLAC? Do you understand? So that's how I sort of balance it. But if I want to sort of expand your question or expand my answer, I remember one particular time, I think it was 2020. We know how 2020 was. Everybody was like, oh my days, what's going to happen? Is it like the apocalypse and all of that? And then I started thinking as a brand, how do we evolve from being where we are? Because at that point, I was just thinking like, how do we evolve as a brand? And one of the first things that came to my, because I normally have long walks.
Oh, yeah.
And reflect so that the body will cool down. And then one of the things that I received in my spirit was add value. Keep adding value. So that was what birthed our new collection this past year. So I think I want you to introduce me to that topic so I don't go there on my own.
Yes. So that was going to be my second follow-up question, but let me bring that home. Bassey and Dekk Seven have a totally, they went left with a sportswear brand, and for somebody who did corporate wears,
yes,
smart casuals, how did the inspiration, which still boils down to part of the inspiration, like how did the inspiration for Refuel, that's the name of the collection, yeah, Refuel, how did Refuel come about? Because like I said, it's like somebody who
you just use your last face.
It's like somebody who sells food, and they say, oh, we do upscale dining, fine dining, and then the next thing you say you are selling fruits.
Yeah.
So, and how are you sure? How are you so sure? Because apparently it's been a very successful collection. How did you know? Was it a question of demand, or somebody asked for sportswear and I just saw a need, so how did you get the inspiration to do the Refuel collection?
Okay, so I want to give like a bit of a very short background story. I said something about knowing the kind of child you have, knowing the kind of child you carry. So when I started Dekk Seven, what we used to normally do is we'll make the clothes. It was ready to wear.
Right.
That's the vision, ready to wear. So, but I noticed that after a while, I started moving more into made to measure.
Made to measure, yeah.
So I noticed I was finding it a bit difficult with made to measure because in my head, it wasn't adding up. I was doing it. It was okay. I was making money from it, but I'm like, there's just something different about this. And then the Holy Spirit started reminding me, this is not how this child is. This is not how this child should be raised. Do you understand? You have to know that this child is a ready-to-wear brand. Do you understand? And then I started thinking more of, okay, how do we do it? And then, like I said, throughout all those my long walks, I was just asking, okay, like, God, what do we do? Like, what's the plan? Since it's ready to wear, how do we go about it? And then it was just a case of add value. Don't think about making money. Think about adding value. Think about adding value. I said, okay, that's pretty good. So I noticed that a lot of people. Okay, so the collection we're going to release was not refuel, not Dekk Seven refuel. There was another collection we were working on. So I had had multiple conversations with my friend. Worked on the draft, the communication strategy, everything. It was good, and then they gave us the price for what we needed to. And I said, this thing is so much. Do you understand? We have not put the cloth out there. Like, we have not done a prototype and then we are spending that much. So I just said, I told her, I said, chill. Let me go and think again. I'll come back with another collection. Right. It was a confidence for me because the way I said it, I was just in my mind, I was like, okay.
Where's the collection?
Where's the... Do you understand? We have one in front of us. You're saying you want to go and think about another one. And then I go back, I started thinking, brooding over ideas, and then Dekk Seven refuel came up. And then, you know how, so when people say, I don't know how it works for other people, but when I get an inspiration, I sort of see, even down to the font, I see I see it, how it should look. Do you understand? It might not be the whole picture, but the basics, the basic structure of the collection. I noticed that I knew the kind of fonts it needed. I knew the kind of logo. Yeah. As soon as it came to my, I just carried my the most secular thing I could find was my what's it called, body spray cover.
The cover.
So I just started sketching it before. So I told my friend, I said, there's a collection. She said, oh, okay, tell me about it. By the time I talked to her, she was like, Bassey, how did you get all these ideas? So that period just made me know that I was on the right path, because not the vision, the course, our course had sort of gone back to how it's supposed to be, meaning we're supposed to be a ready-to-wear brand. Do you understand? So from then on, there were slight challenges, but knowing that this is the collection I'm supposed to put out, this is like we're supposed to have ready-to-wear, we're supposed to be a ready-to-wear brand, that assurance made me know that whatever it is that we're putting our hands into is going to be successful.
And it pretty much felt like people resonated with the tagline, from fear to faith.
Yes, from fear to faith.
From fear to faith. Tell us more about that. Like, how did that concept? I know you've given us like a broad synopsis as to, but how did thinking about from fear to faith lead you into doing something that's into like a collection that people could easily resonate with? I know that there's a lot of worry, fear out there. Mm-hmm. So how were you able to? So what gave you that confidence that if I did a collection around moving from fear to faith and put it in refuel, this would
pop.
It will pop.
Yeah. So I remember I told you something about adding value.
Yeah.
So that period, COVID period, a lot of people were living in fear. Where I stay, I noticed that a lot more families were coming out with their kids to jog, to run. It was really interesting to see and exciting to see families bond over exercise. And like I said, it was very colorful, especially like where I stay, because I've seen different families jumping, kids running. Cars are not really moving that much because, I mean, where are you going to? It was literally like lockdown.
Lockdown, yes.
So I noticed that a lot of times people were just trying to bond more with their families. Do you understand? They were not trying to live in fear. They're trying to have fun. Do you understand? So one of the things that plagues society now, the world now, is depression. People tell you, I'm tired, I don't know what to do. Do you understand? It's funny how it's now becoming a normal thing. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Let me say 5 years ago. 5 years is too far. 4 years ago, it wasn't. Nobody would tell you that they're really depressed and all of that. They have mental health issues. But now it's more rampant, so to say. And like I said, it's more like a norm. So looking at it and saying, how can we add value through our collection? How can people see our collection and they could connect with it? Do you understand? So now, not just sports people, how can people in like other industries or other walks of life see our collection and it resonates with them? So that was the part that I just knew that clicked. I said, you have to keep adding value. Yeah. So every collection we are putting out, mind you, there are a lot of other collections that we have that we're not ready to roll out yet. Yeah. Do you understand? But every single one of them is about adding value or telling a story. Do you understand? That people can just look and say, oh, okay, this, I resonate with this. Do you understand? So I think for me, that's like the...
Okay, so for that person, not just even in the fashion space, who is telling themselves that I started, but I'm out of steam. I don't have that energy anymore to continue. I don't feel inspired to do anything. What do you tell that person? And I would also want to ask a follow-up question, because you said Dekk Seven and Project CLAC are like Siamese twins. So and you mentioned earlier that there are times when you feel you pay more attention to Dekk Seven, and then so how are you able to give both of them this? Do you think that you are able to give both of them the same attention, and both of them produce the same kind of impact that you intended them to? But let's go with the first question. What do you want to tell that person who is at their wit's end? They're out of inspiration. They don't know what to do. They are burnt out. What do you not just even in the fashion space, generally, that entrepreneur that has tried everything and it doesn't seem to be working? What do you have to tell that person?
Okay, one of the first things that gets one started is you're passionate about like say living your best life. When I say living your best life, I don't mean partying, but like fully exploring.
Yes. Live life on purpose.
On purpose, do you understand? So, and in that walk, people easily see the starting point, but consistency tests you differently.
True.
I've tried different things. I have tried different things. I think I've sold hamper before.
Yeah, I remember you.
I've sold hamper before.
Yeah,
do you understand? Yeah. I've done corporate branding. I have done, like the list is on. And the thing is, sometimes those things, you're making some money, but you know that there's still something. So it's constantly a search journey. It's an adventure. And once you see that's an adventure, that no period will last forever. It's easy to say now because you can say, oh, okay, I mean, he has found what is working.
His calling, yes.
What is working for him. But if you don't stay, it's like a mango tree, for instance, and corn. A mango tree, you plant it this year, you will not eat the fruit this year. But you keep seeing that this thing, like something is happening here. Do you understand? But when it's ready, that same mango tree will produce fruits. That same mango tree, the leaves are medicinal. The bark of the mango tree is medicinal. Meanwhile, the corn is is an annual after 1 year. So you have to know what it is you are building. Are you building something that will outlive you, or you just want to make money now and move? Do you understand? So for that entrepreneur that or that person or that career person that is feeling, oh, I don't know what to do, one of the things I do personally is, like I said, I reflect and I speak good to myself.
Confessions are important.
Yes, I speak good to myself. What I mean is, sometimes when you are not seeing the kind of results you want to see, it's easy to say, oh, I'm a failure. This simple thing, I could not even do it right. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So, but me, I tell myself, you're smart, you're creative, you have creative ideas, because our words are powerful. Our words are so powerful.
True.
You might not see it manifest immediately.
Immediately, yes.
But over time, you start seeing that the things you have been telling yourself is actually what you are today. Do you understand? So if you tell yourself that you're intelligent, you have creative ideas, you know what to do per time and per season, it might not happen immediately, but over time, it's like medicine. Someone is sick. If you take medicine now for a particular image, it doesn't just go now, but over time, consistency, telling yourself. So it's always a journey of self-affirmation, and then also being able to be bold and try again. Because sometimes you can feel that, I've tried too many things. I've spent a lot of money. I've not seen return on investments. Why do I think this path is for me?
This path is for me, yeah.
So I will go, I'm a spiritual person.
Yeah.
Do you understand? I like to have alone times where I just reflect, I just meditate and ask, what is truly my purpose? Do you understand? What am I supposed to be doing? And then in those moments, you can have some flashes of things that you are supposed to do. Do you understand? So for me, one of them is knowing that, like I said, for the brand, knowing that we are ready to brand. So that one has sorted out.
Sorted out itself. So anything outside that classification is stress.
Do you understand? So now when people come, Dekk Seven would like to, I say please. So what I try to do is I said we are no longer that brand. Do you understand? So we just try to phase out those things that are clogging our growth. So you have to look for what is clogging your growth. What are the things that you are doing that you're not supposed to be doing? And who are the people that surround you? When people say, I'm very conscious about my circle, some people say it because other people are saying it. But do you actually...
Are they really conscious of your circle?
Do you understand? Are you really conscious of the kind of people that are around you? I don't mind having 3 good friends. But I know, I was talking to my friend a couple of days ago, and I said something. I said, the kind of things you tell me are the kind of things that you should stand on the podium and tell a whole bunch of people. So imagine having this kind of people around you that can speak positively into your life, or that can tell you their experiences. And then on your own, you pick yourself up, or they help you, or they pick you up and tell you, hey, you can't be like this. Oh yeah, let's continue. Do you understand? So surrounding and then speaking good to yourself really helps. Yeah.
To yourself. So the second question I asked as to how you're able to give both Project CLAC and Dekk Seven the same attention with the same produce the same kind of result. Can you just quickly touch on that briefly?
Okay. Remember when we started the conversation, I said it's easy to... Nobody's independent.
True.
We're interdependent. And I noticed that for a long time, I was running as an independent person. I want to do this. I want to... I. But you notice that when you start up things, if you're not careful, you are moving here, you're moving here, and then you're not giving them equal attention. So what I started doing was to have people, like put a structure and have people that come on board. Do you understand?
Right.
Delegate other duties to people to say, you are the one, or this person handles this. Do you understand? So if we are planning for Project CLAC, for instance, I know, there's somebody that is thinking about what we are doing for the project, and the person is constantly calling and saying, Bassey, we need to do this. Do you understand? For Dekk Seven, I know I'm not thinking about some things I have to do, maybe production. Somebody's thinking about it. Do you understand? So for me, when we're growing up, parents, they always tell us, don't do your thing by yourself. Don't involve anybody. And you notice what that now does in society is you see a lot of tiny businesses
that don't want to collaborate.
And then they don't grow.
They don't grow, yeah.
Do you understand? So, but I started thinking about it that if I do not collaborate with people, if I do not let people into what I'm doing, it will never grow. Do you understand? So one of the things, or one of the ways I've been able to at least give them attention is having structure, having people handle different responsibilities.
Right.
Do you understand? For Project CLAC and for Dekk Seven. And over the years, it has worked. Do you understand? And it can only get better.
Yeah.
Because the more creative and the more resourceful hands you have,
it
will help your vision.
Thank you so much, Bassey, for chilling with us, chilling with me.
I had fun. I had a good time.
For people who have heard of Project CLAC and want to be involved, can you just tell us about how frequent or how often your interventions and initiatives are, and where they can reach out to you for support and partnerships?
Okay, so for now we have just one outreach annually
in December.
Yes, in December, exactly. So and then our Instagram handle is it's active. It's active. When I say active, meaning that we respond to messages. We might not post all the time, but we respond to messages. So you can reach us out on Instagram. It's at Project CLAC, spelled PROJECTCLAC. So that's for Project CLAC. Yeah.
Are you thinking of doing more? Are you thinking of increasing the number of times you will do? I was thinking, what have you thought of doing back to school programs?
Yes, we actually did something like that. So that's what literally, I think we did that with the bags for school. Bags for school, yeah. I remember that. We did that in December, so that when kids are going back to school in January. They have durable bags, not those funny looking bags after 1 year. Yeah. I mean, these bags are really durable. Do you understand? So nice. Yeah, we've done back to school initiatives before.
Okay. You can also drop your handles for Dekk Seven too.
Okay. Dekk Seven is at Dekk Seven, DEKKSEVEN, And then you can also follow me if you feel like. My handle is Bassey Ubaha, spelled BASSEY UBAHA.
Thank you so much, Bassey. Any last words for our listeners out there?
Yeah, for listeners out there, the road to success is very narrow, and sometimes you have to be your own motivation. Do you understand? Sometimes you don't have to wait for an external force to motivate you. Do you get? Find what works for you, and as much as possible, add value in whatever capacity you can.
Add value in whatever capacity you can. Thank you so much, Bassey Ubaha, fashion and social entrepreneur, for coming on this episode of the podcast. Find us on Instagram and Twitter at Coffee Beans Pod, COFFEEBEANSPOD. We are at send us an email, coffeebeanspod@gmail.com. My name is Adeshola Balogun, and it was my pleasure hosting this podcast. Till I hear from you, or till you hear from me on next episode, drink coffee, stay inspired.